overall, looking at the markets though, we had green, we've had red, and just very boring environment here. We're kind of in a micro range going back till the February 13th, which is 6 days ago. And then right here, can you update the conversion value? Oh, that's not good. I added another 3 there. My bad. There you go. It is updated. Appreciate that. VIX is now once again, of course, or is green once again. Of course, we have, the VIXpiration event. Now that the VIXpiration event is kind of rolled off, we have millions of dollars worth of 25 strike calls on the VIX, which is typical. That's why you have the reduction on the spot index or the VIX index going towards spot into the VIXpiration, and then right after that event comes on, they reapply their positions, which is in this case a 25 strike VIX call to a very large margin. And that's really the whole basis on my theme of early wheat green followed by late wheat, pressure, maybe downside or chop at best, because they're going to repositioning themselves after that VIX rolls off. That's also why I think the VIX is going to be holding upper 14s, lower 15s going into the next month or so. So the next big event is going to be FOMC, which is in about a month. What's up, Ethan? How you doing? All right, market's open here in a couple of minutes. We'll see how things go. Hopefully a little bit more shaken and bacon than yesterday. Cage your expectations, of course. A little bit of red coming off. We've got liquidity down to 61.25, 61.40, 61.60 up top. I'm trying not to get too excited about much after yesterday. Yesterday was a dumpster fire of price action, just so slow. But we'll see. We'll see. So right out of the gate, we have a tremendous amount of put selling and call buying. Now that's just the morning shakeout data that's first being presented, so we'll see how that goes. NVIDIA bottom wicked, Microsoft bottom wicked. We see we've got the Dow large red engulfing. We've got RTY doing the same right here. And so far, NASDAQ is getting dumperonied. Large red candles. We'll see what they could do. Apple top wick, Microsoft is bottom wicking. Still red here. We've got this little pivot here right before the open at 180 or so. And yeah, so far they're double bottom wicking. We still have calls coming in here, so we'll see how they want to deal with this. But yeah, yesterday presented a very obviously red candle going into the open and then slightly through the open. And then after that, it was Chop City, although a very slow downtrend. $22,180, large red engulfing, so it looks like they are going to at least play that same type of open here. One of my favorite plays is the range before FOMC whenever it's waiting for data. Yeah? You talking about the day of FOMC going into it? Yeah. Definitely. It used to be the same concept for those holiday closures where the futures market's open but everything else is closed. That's I used to go pretty heavy on those and play those. However, the past couple of holidays has been a very strong directional trend, which is very difficult to play any kind of counter or range. So, had to change up that strategy. Nasdaq's back and forth around 22,180. Unable. We've bottomed with this candle twice now, and then filled it back lower. So once we kind of pick a direction, we'll play that way. We have the imbalance from the power hour move yesterday that's hovering right about 22,162. But Nasdaq is continually bottom wicking this, as is Microsoft. Hero indicator still shows aggressive put selling and call buying so far. What's up, YouTube? Very tight open so far. Nikola files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's like the 4th time they filed for bankruptcy. Surprise, surprise. You mean a company that pushed a truck down a hill with no engine in it and pawned it off as an electric vehicle is not doing so well? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Another bottom wick on Nasdaq here. Can it hold? You get some good snow this morning? We did get some good snow this morning. Big old blanket layer of snow out there. Bottom wick again. You see this liquidity here, ES 6145. Nasdaq has liquidity all over the place, mainly up to 22,270. And we'll see if they can actually close a bottom wick candle here. There we go. But we've been in the same range now since about 8:30 Eastern time. In the same general range since February 13th. So very tight stuff here. Still going green. There we go. There's that move. Multiple bottom wicks leading to a little pop up with call buying, put selling. And yeah, up we go. 22,250 up top. Targets for Nasdaq 22,250, both for the charts and book map. And over for ES 6140 is a target to actually go higher. Other than that, the bears will maintain control. See if we can hold this. VIX coming back off. They continue to churn and burn the VIX here at 15. So that's all we can do is play it. Play it, baby. Still put selling, call buying. I'm actually going to hit refresh on it because it's so strong. 6100 to 6120 is the main support for the options chain. So it should not be any surprise that we're continually bouncing off of this area now for a couple of days. And then once that breaks, we'll just head on right back down to 6,000. 6,000 is the main line in the sand we talked about yesterday. If 6,000 were to break on SPX, that's it. Risk off. That is all she wrote. Y'all are talking way too much. I'm going to have to put y'all on 5-minute delay. man, do it. You won't. Not anymore. I used to do it. Oh man, this is boring stuff though. That's for sure. 30-minute candles, triple dojis on ES. I would love to get this thing under 6120. Or, in this fact, even 6160. Just get us out of this range and let's get something shaken. This has been way too long of some chop back and forth. Big movement is coming. I do believe so. That's why the market's kind of pinned. It's just kind of waiting, and I do think we are due for a big movement at this point. What's up, KC? How you doing? So we'll see. We'll see. Trudeau says if there are ever terrorists brought in Canada, our response will be immediate and strong. Another top wick NASDAQ. Dumped it back over. We got 21,260. I asked this yesterday, I think I'd overlook. What level do you set your volume alerts to on the futures products? It's relative. I don't have a set level, yo cheerio. So what I'll do is zoom out to a midterm time frame, and I'll look at what the general volume is. If we're in a low volume environment, then it doesn't take much to set off a volume alert that I set. So, for example, right now, it's been pretty dang mediocre volume for a while. So I would set a volume candle that it's, oh man, let me get you an exact quantity. Something along the lines of 90,000 on a 30-minute candle, 100,000, something like that. So if I see a big player hit, then I'll know it's time to kind of pay attention. It all depends on the environment. This metric usually provides to be a choppy day. Yeah, all back and forth. Meta's dying? Yeah, I mean, it's taken a lot of profit. 20 days of pure profit there. And I was definitely early on my put play, that's for sure, but I had the right idea. But in options trading, timing is everything. Just like golf, timing is everything. So far, the testing I've been doing on 0DT double counters went 5-0 with 10% ROI. They're eating in choppy sideways environments. Nice. VIX is still holding 1570. Speaking of volatility, pops. Today's Wednesday, by the way, so we will be doing the bookmap stream at 10:30. We have FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. Those are hit or miss. Sometimes they're a little bit volatile. Sometimes the market doesn't even blink. But either way, I wouldn't expect much. We have nothing at the top of the hour. We have Atlanta Fed at 10:30, 20-year bond auction at 1 p.m. And yeah. Man, this is tighter than yesterday. What is this crap? Was this price action for ants? RTY, what are they doing? RTY is beginning to bottom wick. RTY did just bounce off of my target, which is 22.78. What caused the sharp move up at market close yesterday? Just liquidity. Just a little bit of liquidity. That's that end of day adjustment. Who was it who said that the market's waiting? I think Mojo said the market's waiting for a big move. So they're going to hold it right here. And I don't really see any signs of any kind of distribution just yet or any major players selling climax, but they're just going to hold it here until we have either a news event to kick off some catalyst, or we get some sort of notion of where to go, because this is very, very choppy. So, it's just back and forth. We had a little bit of a red session, although slow. They recovered some of it and then popped it at the end to just get back to the imbalance. That's it. They just filled it back up to the imbalance, and that was it. A little bit more red. What's up, Mahir? Good morning. I made a lot of money shorting Nikola back in the day. It's a name I haven't seen in a while. Another bottom wick. Nvidia getting crushed. RTY is beginning to kind of buy up again. ES is flat. NASDAQ is flat. Oil, 72.72 after, once again, bouncing off my 71 target, 70.71. Launched again up to 74. It's been a very bullish afternoon for them. Or morning, I'm sorry. Gold is expected to go up over 3,000. It's now hovering up for 29.64. It triple topped off of all-time highs yesterday, but they are expecting 3,000. For your opening and balance play, does it need to be a strong, small trend? Do wicks kill that play? The thing about that play is that it can be a very, very quick pop in and out, or it can be, obviously, the entry to a very profitable trend day. So it's really one. That's why I'm saying, like, if you are going to play that play, that is not a high confidence, big position size play. That is momentum, get my trade in, and be done for the day type of thing. Sometimes it's more clear than others. Sometimes it's not as clear. So that's just the way it works. The way I'd like to play it is when the market opens, it goes directional for about 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It starts to fizzle, and then I play the move back down or back up to the imbalance move. It's a liquidity-based play. It's been a while, but I'm back from my OM daily dose. Love it, here. Liquidity and balance. Do you use ICT concepts? No, I do not. Honestly, ICT uses just concepts that have been around for 100 years. So he just repackages it as ICT. So, I mean, I guess in parlance, yes, I do. But it's not because it's him. It's because all he's done is take stuff that's well known and repackaged it. It's like if you were to take an orange at a grocery store and peel the orange and just leave the fruit and then put it in a plastic packaging and sell it as an orange. That's pretty much what he's done. It's, whatever. It's an orange. Why not make money on the lack of movement by selling futures, options, credit strangles? I do not like selling. I do not like the options chain on futures. Me personally, just it moves weird. It's leveraged a little bit differently than options, so I don't like playing options on futures. However, there is definitely some opportunity to sell options on just a normal derivatives chain, which is fine. So he is full Whole Foods, yeah. Lipton or Arizona iced tea? Arizona Arnold Palmer. I like it. So what are the tariffs going into effect? We haven't gotten a timeline yet, but they said most likely April. What's my ideal strategy or favorite concepts? My favorite concept is volume price analysis, which is all volume-based analysis. Nothing matters without volume. And then second after volume is going to be the pure price action. It makes for a very simplified system. It makes me very patient because I can't really execute confidently without a signal of volume with the commensurate price action. So if I see, let's say on the 15, 30-minute chart, multiple bottom wicks, which means the price action continues to test lower, but every time it does, it bottom wicks, and every time it does, we get some sort of influx of volume, that tells me that there's a sense of demand there. And that the sellers have a job. It's incumbent on the sellers at that point to overcome that demand and shift lower. And then when they finally do close a candle and shows that they're no longer there, we can start to buy back up for a move back up higher into the next premium. So it's all understanding the market is attracted towards liquidity and participation. It cannot move we cannot sustain prolonged movement without high liquidity. That's why when you get a strong bull trend, the volume drops as you get deeper into that trend. A lot of people assume that's just a bearish indication or you're reaching the top, which may or may not be true, but that's why on a strong trend up, the volume drops off and off because the inventory dwindles as the players no longer buy higher. In fact, they're looking to distribute their higher prices onto other people. And another reason why I like the VPA is simply because it allows me to think in terms of on a short time scale. So any day traders, scalpers, even short-term swing traders, the price action is designed to induce liquidity through fakeouts, which is why so many players happen to buy the exact top or short the exact low, because the market is induced to make you look like something and then do the exact opposite to induce liquidity. Big red candles here, dropping back off. 22,157. That brings us down to the imbalance. If it clears that, 22,100, same levels as yesterday. Immediate bottom wick. So they're definitely defending the imbalance from yesterday power hour. Large red engulfing, immediate hammer candle back up to green. ES no change. And we are back to the status quo. That appears to be a sweep candle to once again induce liquidity. Japan today, yeah, it's going nuts. Going nuts. Want to show bookmap in ES? Yeah, sure. Very light liquidity. A little bit more red action here. But when you have a very tight price action and they put on one quick candle to get you out of the range, you cannot participate in that candle. Not if you're already in the trade. If you're already in the trade, do what you got to do to manage. But when you have consolidation that's tight and wicky, and they have boom, the first breakout candle, don't touch that candle. That's like touching a hot stove, man. So they're going to sweep that candle, even if they do eventually continue on that way. They're going to pivot back up just like this. They had a big red sweeping candle, immediate hammer candle back up, right back inside the range. And they just caught a whole bunch of people off guard. And now that the more people have shorted, the higher this thing is going to go back up because people have just jumped into the short. And now you've got about 3.5 million retail traders sitting at the computer right now throwing their keyboards because they just try to short the big red breakdown candle. That's just the way it works. And they're all just saying to themselves, always me. Why is that me now? It always happens to do that right now. How did I always catch shorting the exact bottom? Well, because you're reactionary trading. You don't short until you see red, which is going to put you in very weak positions. I'm new to trading. Any advice or guidance in this direction? Do not options trade. Don't touch any options. Trade stocks. If you're going to scalp, which, whatever, do it on stocks so you can buy yourself some time and repetitions. And then and only then, after you put on, after you trade options for a while or trade stocks for a while and put together a system that's consistent and you're starting to get things figured out, then and only then do you kind of tiptoe into some very low risk options like weeklies and monthlies. Does anyone fish? You can cast a lure in the water, let it sit for a minute, give it a twitch, and that often triggers a reaction strike. The fish can't help themselves. They see a quick movement and they bite. That's how the market works. Except you're the fish. Yep. Hopefully I'm a delicious fish, like halibut. Delicious. Don't be a carp. So far, nothing to trade here. It's back and forth nastiness. ES is dead flat now for about 2 hours. NASDAQ is just very wicky. And when NASDAQ is wicky, NASDAQ is a killer. NASDAQ will absolutely, it'll destroy you. It'll take your lunch money, punch you in the stomach, and then go beat your wife. So don't touch NASDAQ when it's wicky. If you're going to play NASDAQ, play it when there's good setups and direction. Otherwise, stick to something else like RTY or ES. Poor TRTX this morning. TRTX is doing just fine. Doing just fine. They're down big today, but that's okay. Still buying calls, selling puts right now. We have, yes, still buying calls and selling puts. They've bought now $700 million in calls, and they have sold all the put delta from yesterday, at least temporarily. What is ES? ES is the S&P futures. So if you go to your broker and type in ES, sometimes most brokers require that you put in a /ES to denote futures. You'll bring up the S&P futures. The day will come when TRTX returns to 20 and McGurky, and their dividend will go back to 45 cents a share. And then Daddy will be very happy. Where's the date on how many millions puts and sold and bought? I want to see it. I want to see it. I will show you. There you go. That is Spot Gamma's hero tool, HIRO. Show me what you got. Lame. Disqualified. That is a hero tool right there. So the orange line is call delta notional. The blue line is put delta notional. So when the blue line goes up, that is positive delta, which if you know anything about the Greeks on the option chain, positive delta means they are selling puts because puts are a negative delta product. So when you buy a put, your portfolio is negative delta net. When you sell a put, because you are selling a negative delta product, you are now positive delta exposed. So when puts go up in positive delta, that means they're selling puts. When the orange line goes up, calls are a positive delta product. So when you buy a call, you are exposed to positive delta. That is showing you that you're buying calls. So in that case, it's showing buying calls, selling puts. If you want to see buying puts, you need that blue line to go down. If you want to sell calls, you need that orange line to go down. We are now $800 million in call buying. They are continuing to boil the pot. And I thought yesterday was boring. Yesterday was terrible. It was very boring. Yeah. You don't have any lines or indicators on your charts. Do you use any? No, I don't. Very good observation, YB. So you'll see it around. There's like a funny statement here. Like year one trader, they've got lines galore on their chart. EMAs, 200 EMA, 8 EMA, trend lines, Fibonacci retracements, RSI, MACD. You got all this crap on your chart. But if you look at the chart of a 10-year trader, there's nothing on it. Not a single line. And it's because you realize that none of that crap works at all. Zilch, zero, nada. Does not work. If 8 EMAs and 200 EMAs worked, then we'd all be millionaires. We'd all be kicking back and say, oh, there's an EMA touch, let me buy, and hand me my $1 billion. It doesn't work. It all just confuses you. And here's my conceptual explanation to that. Obviously, we've all heard the stat that 99% of retail traders fail. 99% of retail traders are unable to turn a consistent profit. If that is true, which I don't think it's true, I think that's a little exaggerated because I have a lot of people in my DMs, been doing this now for 4 years, and I've seen a lot of success. I've seen a whole bunch of failure, but I've seen a lot of success too. So I think 99% is a little strong. I think that's over exaggerated. However, I digress. If you are going to be successful in this, you have to be able to do something that is not privy to the whole market. You can't just. This is the hardest profession you will ever do in the history of your life or in the future of your life. There's not a single profession out there that is mentally taxing or difficult than this. And not because it's difficult technically to understand. It's because this plays against all your natural human emotions. This will bring out the absolute worst in you if you let it. So if you want to be successful at this, you have to do something that is not obvious, and you have to do something that is not universally known. Everyone, from a 12-year-old learning how to trade on their DAX computer to the 80-year-old dude who's just bored with his retirement and wants to trade, everyone sees the 8 EMA on their chart. So if that's the case, then that is not going to work, ever. Ever. Except for any kind of just basic pattern recognition target. So if you want to be successful at this, you have to do stuff that is not universally known or obvious, which is all about liquidities. This will bring out the absolute worst in you if you let it. 100% it will. Yeah, absolutely. EMAs can be used as VPA if you're willing to, as a confluence. Yeah, pattern recognition. Yeah. But then, unfortunately, that's not how the layman applies it. They apply it as, gospel. There's an 80 EMA touch, I'm going to long it. There's a 200 EMA touch, I'm going to long it. And it just doesn't work that way. Is it true that the S&P hasn't hit a 200 MDA in 2 or 3 years and the odds are good for it? Yeah. For the life of me, I cannot remember. Man, some boring action. The Verve pipe? Absolutely. My meeting got shifted from 3:30 to 9:30. Big bummer. Looks like I didn't miss much. No, this is terrible. That meeting probably did you a favor today. We need a Trump tweet to fuel a V recovery. Fuel something. Top wick on NASDAQ. Are they actually going to break something here? Obviously, we have some support at about 22,160. They have now like 5 bottom wicks in a row on NASDAQ. Unable to get to 22,160. Every single little minor attempt is still holding. So that's going to be the line in the sand. 22,160 gives out, we'll play down another 100 points. If it doesn't, no trade. No trade. Singing the Freshman. It is a great song. I've got my Spotify on shuffle this morning. That's what it just gave me. Another top wick. If NASDAQ smokes this 22,160, we'll play down to 22,100. But you've got to be very patient. P-A-Y, shints, patience. Just walk away. Red candles. Hey, big red candles, what I tell you. Let's go down to 22,100. Love it. Love it. I drink and I know things. Hey. Can it hold? 22,160. I think I'm going to change up the streams a little bit. I think I'm going to change the 6-pack up to like a 2-pack. It's like a wintertime, you put on a little weight, you don't have a 6-pack anymore. We'll do a 2-pack. We'll do NASDAQ and ES, so we could talk on both of those. I like that idea. Hard to hold with locks of Wix. Yes, it is. All right, what else do we have here? The Dow is also flat. The TLT, the bonds, is up to 88.16. Nvidia is still getting crushed. There it is, big red. How do we get that passed? Hopefully, a midterm, not what not midterm, 15-minute close, which I think this is already close. We have a close below it, so 160 has been wiped. Now we can try to play down to 100. 100 will be my target for this, plus or minus 5 points. 22-105, 22-100. I'm not gonna Nats butt it here, but we'll try to get down there. But now we have an acceptance. What an acceptance is when you finally when you're stuck at a demand for an hour like Nasdaq and ES was, and you finally break it and you close under it, you have now wiped out that demand, because the whole point there, liquidity shakeout. You've got buyers and sellers duking it out. And when you finally break that liquidity and then close under it without any kind of bottom wick or volume, that says that the sellers have now overtaken that demand, and now it's time to go seeking out the next liquidity. That's why you break and usually get some sort of trend. Now, some are harder to play. Sometimes it's more wicky. Sometimes it's more volatile. Right now, I'll go ahead and tell you, judging by the liquidity and the price action we're seeing this week, don't get excited about too much on any move. The volume is very light. The price action is very tight. So cage your expectations. This is the part of the management tool. Just like sometimes you're in your car and you're pumped up, you want to crank that music all the way to high. And sometimes you just want to chill and turn that music all the way down. This is one of those chill and turn the music all the way down type of points. We're not cranking it up here. Just chill, relax, play a couple of points here or there, reduce your position sizing. When we get VIX back up again and we get the volatility back cranking, we'll go a little bigger. DAX is fine today? Yeah. I'm going to keep selling my puts. There you go. Love it. Love it. You know what I did yesterday afternoon? I carried 7,800 pounds of tile from the driveway to the upstairs rooms. It was a great day. I did a lot of fitness. Do I feel special? I do feel special. With my hand, I did, yes. In physics, that's called work. It is. It is. Boom, boom, boom. It's OM fitness. Functional fitness right there, baby. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. Here, take a look at this. I got something for you. You jabroni. I love it. I love it. 6130. Let's see if we can get a top wick here. I've never heard it put that way. Oh, yeah. Farmer's Walk. Leo, yeah. Is that considered a leg day or an arm day? I think both day. Yeah. Is 22-100 a good long entry? I can't say that because they very well could smoke 21-100. And here's my counter to that, Kev. When I look at that level 22-100 or any other calculated support that I find, I'm not saying that that is the point to buy. I'm saying that's a point that could buy. The probability of 22-100 bouncing is a lot higher than, let's say, 21-130. So I don't know. However, when we get to 22-100, I'll be on the lookout for signs of a long, for signs of or getting out of a short or signs of a bottom weight. That's the way I manage my system. Everything I do is an if-and statement. These are my targets at which the probability changes. It's like variable change. When I see a level be hit that's got a lot of historical and future data, aka bookmap order flow liquidity, that's when my probabilities of a certain environment changes. All right, well, we've been on a very strong downtrend, but we just hit a multi-week low. The probability of it bouncing here is pretty high, and I'm going to look for that. And then if I see the signs that are conducive with the bounce, then I'll look to play it. Are they still buying calls, selling puts? Let me take a look. No, they are back to buying heavy puts. They're selling some of the calls, not a lot, but they are buying puts now. So, ST student, pay attention. This is what it looks like when they begin to sell puts. Or I'm sorry, buy puts. You see the blue line start to go down? They're starting to buy those puts, and now the orange line has dropped off a little bit. They're selling some of the calls. If I want to see a true strong downtrend, I'd like to see a big blue downward move on that and a big orange move down. That means they're selling calls and they're buying puts, which were both bearish positions. I carry horse salt blocks to feed my horse at the top of the hill. Nice. That'll get you yoked. $61.30, still pinging the lows here. Nasdaq still dropping big time. 61.25 liquidity. Nasdaq's got some skewed lower liquidity to 22.100. That's going to be our first target. If they get under 22.100, you see they've got 080, 030, all this stuff on the bottom. So if it does break this area and shift lower, 100 first, and then we'll see if we can get down and fill this nice stuff here. But it's still definitely very wicky. I carried too much tile over the summer. It gave me a hernia. I feel you. That stuff's heavy. It always makes me wonder how can the framing and the house structures carry that much weight on the walls in one single room. Quick question. So when they swept it the first time, 949, that was a volume spike. That means there was a demand there. And the next time we touch that level, there's no spike. It means you absorbed the level, 100%. That was absorption. 100%. I had a buddy in college who was a good old boy, raised on the farm, tall and lanky and strong as an ox. He went to the gym one day with him. Yeah, you don't mess with farmer kids, man, or farmer dudes. They got that sleeper build, that functional. The tendons are strong, the ligaments are strong, the muscles are strong, bone density from just hauling hay, and you don't mess with them. No movement. Back and forth. If they do get under this little bottom wick, 22,100, of course, is still our target. Once they clear that out, we could look for this lower stuff. But obviously, very tight, very slow movement. So far, 9:45 to 10:15 is not eventful. That's correct. Yeah. It's a terrible price action. ES hasn't even moved the whole day. NASDAQ is just back and forth. They had a decent, small little breakdown. But yeah. Next 5-minute algorithm so far is red, but very small, small red. Again, cage expectations. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. $22,143. ES is there. NASDAQ is still here. 135. Absolutely no movement. Follow through. They're still holding the defense from yesterday morning, but unable to go through. Green back up. I used to be tough, then I got old. Yeah, it happens to us all. I cut and splitting axe on my firewood every year. Nice. I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do is split firewood. I think it just kind of it speaks to my primal instincts. It's good stuff. Can you derive anything from Meta's chain for OPEX? Not really. Not really. On the short-term scale, it's difficult to watch for any kind of moves for Meta or for anything on the short-term scale. Hmm. 10 a.m. pivot. It's a little later than that, but maybe, yeah. ES is just still inside the little wedge here, little range. I put a comment in Traders Anonymous. Everyone's feedback is welcome. Okay. Over the last week, I've been struggling with my emotions and trading discipline. Too many distractions and negative thoughts. My win rate has gone down, but I'm still in the black. Good. Trading smaller sizes, which is affecting me. My thoughts are telling me to go and trade bigger. Having difficulty overcoming negative thoughts, at least this week I'm away from home. If you're having a lackluster period, I would not increase your position sizing. That's the time to kind of turn it back and figure out what's going on. You know, if my truck starts spitting out a bunch of service engine lights and low oil pressure, I'm not going to slam the accelerator down to the floor and try to go as fast as I can. I'm going to pull over, stop the car, and figure out what's going on. Same thing with trading. If you're having issues, your engine light's screaming at you, hey, I need to figure something out. So Let's figure out what's going on. Why? I mean, maybe it's as simple as the market conditions have changed. Myself included, you're not going to trade well in every single market condition. And this right now is low confident chop crap. I mean, even going back to September, none of this on the S&P since September is high confidence. It's crap. It's complete crap. We're going on now 6-7 months now of absolutely nothing confidence. So if you're not trading well, just wait. Like, we're going to have a lot of volatility, or pick something else to trade. If the S&P is not doing it for you, choose something else. And then tiptoe back in. Develop a consistent pattern of very, very, very small position sizing. Tiptoe back in. Don't expect much. That way, if you happen to take a loss, whatever, man. Just, chill. Buy some good beat down stocks, yeah. In 9 minutes, I have to switch over to the Bookmap Discord stream, so I'll be doing that. You're welcome, Damien. Appreciate the comment. DeepSeek is looking to raise money for the first time. They got their little 15 minutes of fame, and now they're deep-seeking some money. Technically, a female would. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely, Damon. We're here to help each other. They're still buying puts and calls, but very way more call delta than puts. Price action here is still very stagnant. If fiscal flows are strong and there hasn't been any major impact to government spending, which fuels growth, shouldn't we be looking for opportunity to buy dips? Until otherwise noted, yes. The only way I'm going to look for downside is if I have any kind of selling climax, and we haven't had any indication of any major selling climax yet. So, definitely, until further notice, buy the dip. Yeah. What do you think of the military budget being cut by 50%? I think they should cut it by 75%. Slash it. But that also requires a change in global policy from a military perspective, from an American perspective, if we're going to do that. You can't cut it by 75% and keep on building other countries. You got to be like, all right, well, we're done with you and we're done with the world and we're just going to cut our spending and just kind of chill. But that's just my opinion. I do not subscribe to the policy that America should be the global police. Despite the fact that I've spent my entire career in the military. I don't say that lightly either, because I've seen some pretty extreme evil. I've seen some pretty terrible stuff, and the stuff that the person who usually argues against military does not know or see because they don't show it on the news. refresh. What do we got here? Probably clickbait, but someone said if all the money Doge is finding, they're issuing refunds of money collected. What's a possibility? I don't want them to issue the money back to us. At least not yet. My thought is I want to my what I would like to see is cut all the waste pork barrel spending, the fraud, waste, and abuse, get us back into a surplus, pay off the debt, so we can start to live normal lives, so our kids can buy homes. Giving Americans back money is just going to be a temporary measure to make us feel good. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to continue to have the problems. That's my opinion. How many U.S. bases are in Japan? Yeah. In that case, I've been looking for 616 on SPY as my rear one. Spinning C. Yeah. Yeah. 616. Do you mean 606? Oh, you're talking about for resistance. I see what you're saying. Okay. 616. I don't have anything plotted that high. When we're at all-time highs, I don't go that far out. I go just, what I can get out of the data, which at this point is roughly about 614. Re-elect Bill Clinton if you want some surplus. He was the last president to do it. The contractor that built my house, so just the frame, he just built the frame, came out to check a couple of things, and I was talking to him, and he said he's bidding out another job, and they have to put in I forget the wattage, a very large transformer for the electrical power for this very large manufacturing company, and they said the transformer, up until this point, has been about $8,000, and they said if these tariffs go into effect, they're going to have to pay $30,000 for this transformer. So the whole electrical industry in my neck of the woods is freaking out because electrical costs are about to skyrocket from China. So all that to say, and the reason why I'm saying that is because take a look at the housing market. It could be a perfect storm for a much-needed correction in the housing market in the upcoming weeks, months, years. There has to be a demand collapse for the housing market to have any kind of correction. The demand collapse has to go away because right now the demand's been very strong, mainly fueled by relocating. Well, I guess the BlackRock, the hedge fund purchases of homes and the relocating for remote jobs. But what happens when all these companies that allowed remote work recalls all their workers? What happens when they all have to go back to California? Do they quit their jobs and go find new jobs, or what do they do? I want to see 75% off. Yeah, me too. I've heard prices in DC have plummeted. Yeah, I mean that 100%. It sounds plausible. When you flood the supply, the demand's going to go down. Prices go down. Do you see the governor of Florida is floating the idea of getting rid of property tax? That would be fantastic. 100% on board with that. What's up, Salim? How you doing, buddy? I mean, think about the whole thing through supply and demand. Same thing with trading, supply and demand. There has to be a kill if you want the housing market to have any kind of correction. You have to have destruction of demand. Period. or a vast increase in supply, one of the two. But either way, the demand is so high that if you increase the supply, that the demand could catch up to that. If you have if you have a demand that can't be met, and you increase the supply, all you're going to do is probably make a little bit more money, increase the prices, and demand's going to come up until you reach the point that there's too much demand or not enough demand and too much supply. Then the prices will correct. And I think we're kind of at that point where all we have is little demand destruction. We have too much supply now, and that's when prices are going to finally drop. That's when you're going to have the correction. And this could be it. Everyone trying to return back to work. No more work from home. Who knows? Could be it. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be an interesting time for us, that's for sure. Yep. Oh, yeah, Bookmastering got started. All right. Y'all got me talking. So I'm going to switch over, and I'll post the links.